Well, the votes are in from the poll on Tuesday on what video should be posted today. A majority have voted for this. Aw, but I don't want any more Buck and Doe content. Well, I don't care. You're gonna sit there and consume more Buck and Doe content. I mean, they are literally the Bonnie and Clyde of the entire franchise. What parents have went through this much harm to protect their kids? Especially a theropod. I mean, Buck tore up a city for his son. But another Rex spear took on the military for theirs. Yup, the primitive war T-Rexes are officially now my favorite Rex design in a movie. People criticize their frame, saying it's a Jurassic Park Rex head slapped onto a V-Rex's body, which is why they're so big. Maybe it's just me, but I don't really see the similarity between their head and the franchises. However, the bodywork low-key looks similar to a V-Rex. Anyway, since I basically threw out what the video is going to be about because of the poll, I don't have to tiptoe around it. Which T-Rex pair would remain supreme on Sorna if I added in primitive wars? Would the genetically modified abominations on this side of Sorna be able to fight off their natural counterparts? Well, at least natural in their universe. Well, we're about to find out. If you want to get your votes in on future topics, then join the Discord. This won't be for all my videos, but for at least one or two every week. Next poll is getting put up on Sunday, so don't miss it. This might be a long one, so let's get straight into it. So I knew a little about primitive war before the movie, specifically sometime early last year, and I got introduced by an absolutely nefarious art piece of a Quetzalcoatlus eating a man's intestines like spaghetti. Now this led me down a very weird rabbit hole of seeing Capros fighting one-ton Utahraptors, etc, etc. The raptors in the movies aren't that big, I think. I mean, they were close to that weight, around the size of a big grizzly. With that said, I still haven't read the novels. Like, after reading The Lost World a while back, I don't know what happened. I'm gonna try to read Primitive War soon though. The biggest hitters here are the Tyrannosaurs. They were especially powerful in the movie. The female looks more dull, doesn't have that many patterns or almost quill-like feathers like the male. And next to each other, the male does look bigger. By the way, remember back in the early 2000s when all of us were taught that female megaceropods were always bigger than the males? Ah, what a time to be alive. Now I'm barely an adult and have to write taxes. The novels, well, they show these guys as absolute behemoths that could weigh up to 15 tons. Although some sources claim the pair isn't that big in the movie, at least. The novel ones are, yeah, they're kinda that big. I honestly think they are though, at least the males, so yeah. At the lowest, I'd say the male is anywhere between 12 and 13 tons. And even this seems a bit off seeing them compared to tanks. But speaking of tanks, what is it with primitive war dinosaurs and tanking bullets? Why are the much smaller in comparison Utahraptors getting shot multiple times to the face and chest by assault rifles and having the ability to just shrug it off? Like, oof. Oh, you think I'm over exaggerating? Look at this. Yeah, some of them were shot directly to the chest by guns and even in the face. Only way I've seen them die straight up was with a direct brain shot or really prolonged rounds to the body. The Rexes just abuse this power in every way possible. They barely even shrug after getting shot to the face, but they get an outrageous power buff when their chicks are in danger. Buck and Doe may have thrown an RV off a cliff and flipped over cars, but this pair took on a small Russian army and destroyed tanks. The head honcho there almost had a seizure when one of the soldiers brought back the dead Rex chick. My guy literally said, "You've doomed us all," and he was low-key right because the troops didn't stand that much of a chance at the start. Unless you have armor-piercing rounds, I don't know what guns are killing one of these Rexes. Either that or you have to use a tank to blow their heads off. Oh, and one more thing. What's the worst way you've seen a T-Rex in the Jurassic franchise kill someone? Crushing them with raw bite force, or maybe the king and queen of Sorna tear my hero apart together. Well, you know how Fang and Primal can make humans turn into blood mist or just bite apes and humans so hard that they explode? The primitive war Rexes can do that too, also not quite as extreme. They were in rage mode during the entire scene. A lot of the people they just threw aside, but a few they decided to pop like a water balloon and make their limbs fly everywhere. Which kinda makes sense seeing that they are meant to be an upscaled real Rex. I really love the biting sounds when they miss something though. You know, the ones crocodilians make if they don't connect their jaws to a target. The pop sound. Now I don't know if they gained any extra strength because their child was dead or not, but they were just going ham the entire time. And the two show a bit more affection towards each other than most dinosaur pairs, with the female almost immediately tracking down her mate to see if he's okay as he fell off a cliff. These ones could swim too, by the way. Not Ember good, but they could swim, and when they met up, they did this adorable nuzzle to re-establish their bond. And for their size, it's a tad bit strange that they prefer more densely forested areas, but I guess that's just for their resting periods or maybe the extra cover to keep the chicks safe. Love the chicks fluff too. Reminds me of prehistoric planets. By the way, I'm not saying that these primitive war Rexes are totally accurate, by the way. Sure, their body plan is decent and the skull with the addition to the lips are good, at least to me, but there's a few things that could be changed. The fast walk was a really good thing as megaceropods couldn't really run, but Ever since I saw someone mention their T.Rex body plan and the movements, I can't unsee it. But who cares, it's a movie about bulletproof dinosaurs from Vietnam that came back because of a Russian experiment. Accuracy doesn't really apply here. Well, they're gonna jump from one hot and humid environment directly into another one. Yep, we're going from hot and sweaty to hotter and sweatier. Wait, is that a word? Give me a moment, folks. Okay, I'm not totally literate. So the environment is gonna be almost exactly the same. Both areas are similar in climate and the seasons are wet and dry. And the section of the island the Lost World focuses on has more grassland and almost a red forest-like biome in some areas. Can't wait for Valkyrie to drop Tuesday, by the way. I would say though that Acid 87 section of Sorna may have been a better fit, seeing that the dense areas the Rexes typically stay in Vietnam's jungle, but they wouldn't be that much affected by it. When it comes to prey, they're gonna be just fine, with their camouflage and the fact that they don't roar usually before killing something. Not saying all Jurassic Park Rexes do that because they are capable of incredible stealth if they want to. It's just that primitive war is less likely to do so. So hadrosaurs close to the forest edge should be ample prey, and juvenile or even adult sauropods could be something the pair attempt if hungry. Not to mention the armored dinosaurs like Tranks and Ankies, oh, and the Stegos. Although the Stegosaurs will likely be left alone unless things get really rough. Or it's just one, because they will also kill for their offspring, and multiple animals weighing anywhere between 5 and 7 tons, with 3-foot Stagomyces charging towards you, isn't optimal for life. So they're pretty much set for food. It shouldn't be that much different from their normal prey on Vietnam. Like I said, since I'm comparing the film version of The Lost World, there won't be my goated chameleon carnos. The raptors are still here though. They might be smaller than the novel a bit and not as crafty, seeing that the novel version outsmarted Wu and tried to work together to unlock a steel cage, while two in the movie killed each other because one bumped into the other one by accident. But regardless, they are still formidable animals. Superhuman strength and enough Black Air Force energy that would make them consider running a fade with the Mega Sauropods if the reason was good enough. They would somewhat compete for the same prey, mainly the Powers and Creatosaurs, but if the primitive war pair pull up, the average pack is sprinting for cover. Times gotta be really bad for them to even stand up to the Rexes. The smaller carnivores like the Compies, they just hide, and if they are Ceratosaurs on this side of Sorna, they'd be even worse off than the Raptors because they're still decently small than the 6-side Rexes, and they are alone. Primitive War's couple isn't the only Rex pair in the area though, as the king and queen of that section of the island rule without competition. Later on in Dominion they get close to Rexy size, higher 8 ton to low 9 ton range, but at the time of the Lost World, they were anywhere between 7 and 8 tons barely, with Buck being the bigger of the two. Similarly to the primitive War Rexes, these two will travel through hell to protect Junior, and are very spiteful. You know how bad-minded you gotta be to push an RV off a cliff the moment the humans handed you your son? Healed too, by the way. But in their mind they thought someone just stole their son, so it's low-key justified. Oh, and also this is the very first time, like I rewatched The Lost World almost a dozen times in my life. And yesterday when I made a Carno video was the very first time I noticed that Buck was scratching himself in San Diego. It's stuff like this that would make me want to pet him. Like all Park Rexes, they do not care about size and they will take on opponents bigger and stronger than them. And they are faster than Primitive War Rexes and have bullet resistance. Nowhere close to Primitive War's ability to just shrug off bullets, but resistance nonetheless. They are the same species, so theoretically they should be able to communicate in some sense, but I'm not sure if that would do much. While comparing modern animals to prehistoric ones, especially Hollywood versions, isn't the best way to compare, things like lion prides and wolf packs will kill each other if they see a rival group of the same species, if they assess the risk is worth it at least. So while I think there could be a slim chance for a truce, it's likely that both parent groups would end up fighting, seeing how both are aggressive when it comes to their chicks. Normally I'd say that real T-Rexes of a similar size could not beat a Jurassic Park T-Rex's party, because at the end of the day, movie monsters beat real animals. But the Primitive War Rexes are wolves in sheep clothing. They may look somewhat accurate, but their characteristics sure aren't, aside from their absurd durability. Their jaws appear to be more powerful, seeing that they can make people literally pop when they bite them, like what Fang does in Primal, and they can tear tanks. I'd say that they take bite force, could be wrong though, and as stated by the official size sheets, even the small size for these guys are bigger than Buck and Doe, with the largest weight range given being almost double the weight of Buck. So I don't know what to tell you. At the max sizes given, two Primitive War T-Rexes with a combined weight of 28 or 30 tons would more than likely slaughter a 15-ton Jurassic Park Rex spear. So I'ma use what most think the movie's version could weigh, and that's 12 to 13, which is still bigger than the parks, but anything will do at this point. I mean, theoretically, based on the size sheet, it could be the very lowest at 9, but yeah, they aren't that low in the movie, I'm sorry. and since these guys came from the past, it's clear that they grew up fighting other Rexes, especially the male. Also, Buck likely fought at least one male for his mate. Regardless, in a full-out deathmatch, I got Primitive Wars. But if things really do get serious and Buck and Do fall back when things do get bad, all that's gonna happen next is Primitive War T-Rexes taking the prime territories instead of Jurassic Parks. Could even be a weird thing where both understand that they are the same species somewhat and just begrudgingly accept their existence from a distance. And even though Primitive Wars is bigger, I'm sure Buck and Do would get some good shots on them too during the fight. And like everything wrong with just introducing two individuals of the same species, the future is gonna look kinda grim, because inbreeding is gonna be a real thing really soon after some generations. And they might actually nerf themselves over time like the V-Rexes because of this. Then there's some weird world where Primitive War Rexes, at least the current pair's offspring, could interbreed with Jurassic Park Rexes there. I mean, hey, they're both T-Rexes, so it should be somewhere within the range of possibility, and if that's the case, then we'll get some Rexes that will be out of this world. But like Buck and Do's, a lot of the offspring will be picked off by the small predators, which is why Junior is a only kid. So overall, I'd say the Primitive Wars Rex pair would do excellent in the Lost World. Environment's almost the same, prey galore, and little to no competition depending on if they decide to kill Buck or Do or just live in an awkward truce with them. Biggest challenge might be getting used to some of the same species they eat in Vietnam, being a bit different on Sorna, but that should be about it. And again, the Spinosaurus isn't on this part of Sorna, so he won't be mentioned. And 87 would likely turn the other way if he saw two massive T-Rexes willing to take on the military. The video is honestly going to be shorter than I thought. Good, I could sleep. Let me know your thoughts in the comments though. And for those who have read Primitive War before the movie, let me know if I missed anything out, or if I overestimated or even underestimated the Rexes, because from a few things I've heard, they are capable of some gnarly things in the book. But that's all for today folks, I'll see you later.